Hi, everybody. Okay, so we are factoring today. You should be on the factoring trinomials, the third flap, so the ax squared plus bx plus c side. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So up until this point, we've been factoring. We can kind of call them level one problems, all right? So let's just recap real quick of what the process looks like for that. So remember, when you're factoring, you're technically like dividing, right? You're figuring out what two binomials multiply together to get this. Well, we know we're going to have an n and an n because that's the only way to get to n squared. And now if I look at my signs, I have a plus and a plus, so that means I have to have a plus and a plus here. And now we're thinking, what are some ways to multiply to 8? Well, I have 1 and 8 and 2 and 4. Out of those two combinations, which ones add to 6? It should be 2 and 4, right, folks? So I'm going to put a 2 and a 4. It doesn't matter if you put the 4 first and then a 2, it doesn't make a difference. But now we always check, right? And you only have to check the two middle ones. So that would be 2n, n times 4 is 4n. Together that gives me 6n. So things are looking pretty good because that's what we wanted here. Let's try another one. Maybe you pause the video and try this one just as a good checkpoint for you if you remember what we did before spring break. But I'm going to go ahead and solve it. So again, I'm going to put my parentheses back in. I'm going to have an m and an m because that's the only way to get to m squared. And now I need to multiply to a negative number. Now the only way to multiply to a negative number, you guys, is a positive and a negative. Okay? So now your brain's thinking, okay, I got my n's, I got my signs. Now I got to figure out what are some ways to multiply to 24. I have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and 4 and 6. So out of those combinations, which ones are going to combine to a positive 2? Keeping in mind one's positive and one's negative. So we're really going to be like subtracting, right? So which ones have a difference of 2? Well, not 1 and 24. 2 and 12 have a difference of 10. That's too big. 3 and 8 have a difference of 5. Also too big. But there's a difference of 4 between these guys. So it's 4 and 6. Now, which one's positive and which one's negative? Well, since I want it to be a positive 2, I want my bigger number to be positive. Okay, so now we'll check. 6 times n is 6m. m times negative 4 is negative 4m. Add those two together. 6 minus negative 4 is a positive 2m, which is indeed what we wanted. So we did it correctly. Okay, so we were pretty good. We were like rock stars at that pre-spring break. So I hope spring break didn't set us back too far. Because now, you guys, we're going to beef it up. We're going to level 2 kind of problems. No, the difference here, you guys, with level 2 problems is we have a number now in front of our first term. So we have to think about how we're going to multiply that number. So the process is the same. We just have to kind of have big brain energy. We really got to think about what we're doing before we do it. We can't just willy-nilly kind of throw things in like we were doing before. So for what's nice for us today is we're going to only basically have one way to multiply that first number today. We're not going to make it too complicated. So in your brain, you're thinking, what is some ways to multiply to 3? Well, there's only one, right? I know I'm going to have a 3y and a 1y, but I don't really need that one because that's the only way to get to 3 is 3 times 1. So we're okay there, okay? But now this is where things get kind of challenging. So I got to look at my signs. I have a plus and a minus, so the only way to multiply to a negative number is a positive and a negative. But I don't know which one goes where, so I'm just going to put them here. And you're going to find out, you guys, today is a lot of trial and error. You're not going to see it right away. You're going to have to work it out to make sure you did it right. And it's okay because everyone is going to be doing trial and error too. Like no one's just going to be able to see it today like we were before. Okay? So just keep that in mind. So now we have 15. We have 2 ways to multiply to 15. I have 1 and 15 and 3 and 5. All right? So we only have 2 ways to multiply to 15, which is good. But now we want our 2 middle terms to add or combine to a positive 4. Now, a good rule of thumb, you guys, is it's very rarely going to be the extremes of like 1 and 15. Those are pretty big numbers. Like if you're taking 3 times 15, you're getting 45. So that's pretty large, right? So I usually try to stick with the ones kind of in the middle. It's just it's easier to kind of gauge where you're at. So I'm going to try 3 and 5. So again, I don't know which one goes with where, so I'm just gonna guess. A good also rule of thumb, you guys, these are just things that I've learned because I've done this for so long, is you're never gonna get like 2 3s in the same parentheses. You're never gonna see them together. So if I have 2 3s, I'm gonna purposely not put my 3 with my other 3 because I know that won't go together because they would have the same, they would have a greatest common factor, and you don't want them to be share any factors with the numbers they're with. So automatically, I know my 3s are going to be in opposite sets of parentheses. So let's just guess and check to see if we did this correctly, okay? So I'm going to get 5y here, or 3y times negative 3y is negative 9y. If I add those two together, I get negative 4y. But if I look, you guys, I wanted a positive 4y. So this one's a pretty easy fix. All we have to do on this one is switch out our signs. So I want this to be a negative 5 and a positive 3. So now when we go back and check, see, you guys, we're always going to be checking, getting the process or the habit of checking. Negative 3 times y is negative 5y, and the negative, or 3y times 3 would be 9y. Negative 5y plus 9y gives me that 4y, so we are good to go. Excuse me. So this is our final answer. Okay? Let's try another one. So again, level 2, we have a number out in front of our first term, which is okay. So again, we're going to throw in our parentheses. What's the only way to multiply 2 and 2, you guys? It's a 2 and 1. So that's all right. So I know I'm going to have a 2x and an x. Okay? We have a minus plus. Now, if you have a minus plus, we know it's going to be a negative negative because we have to combine to a negative number but multiply to a positive, so it's a minus minus. Okay, so we know our signs are for sure minuses, which is nice. And now we gotta think, what are some ways to multiply to 3? There's only 1 and 3, so we just have to get lucky and hope that we got it right. So this one's pretty basic, so I can see where the 3 has to go, but if you don't know, it's okay. We guess and check. It takes a little forward thinking to think like, well, I know I'm going to have to multiply the 2 by whatever goes here, so it would make more sense to have a 1 there or a 3 there. If you can see that right now, that's awesome. If you can't, we're just going to plug them in, okay? So I'm going to put 3 here and a 1 there. And now we check. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. Combine them together for a negative 5x. Is that what we wanted? No, we wanted a 7x. So now we know, folks, we have to switch out our 3 and our 1. And I knew that right away, but I just want you guys to be in the habit of checking, because if you don't, you're going to get everything wrong. Because it's easy to tell if you're doing these right. So now let's check again. Negative 1 times x is negative x. 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. If I combine those two x's together, I'm going to get a negative 7x. And you guys, that is what we wanted. So if you want to be a little bit more forward thinking, you guys, think. I knew I was taking this 2 times what was ever here. So I probably wanted to put the bigger number there since I was trying to get to a 7, right? Again, if you see that connection, awesome. If you don't worry about it. We'll do enough of these to where you'll get really good. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, I don't like how this flip book just randomly throws in these negative signs. So you never want to factor with a leading negative number. So do you guys see we have that negative 5 there? We got to get rid of that negative sign. So factor out a negative 1, meaning change all your signs to the opposite. We're taking out a negative. Okay. So now this is really what we're factoring. We basically just took out our negative, we factored out a -1, which switches all of our signs to the opposite. And now our process is the same, folks. Putting in our parentheses, don't forget about that negative out in front because it does still exist. Again, what's nice, there's only one way to multiply to 5. It's 5 and 1. So I'm going to have a 5m and an m. Look at our signs. We have a minus plus. Well, the only way to combine to a negative but multiply to a positive is a minus minus, which is also very nice. And kids, know what's awesome about this? There's only one way to multiply to a 1. It's 1 and 1. So we can't go wrong here. But we're going to check because it's a good practice to check. So let's just make sure. -1 times m is -1m. 5m times -1 is -5m. Combine those, we get -6m. And you guys, that is what we wanted. Hello. Nice. That's it. We did it. All right, let's try this last one here, kids. So again, they give us that darn negative. Pull it out. So we're going to have positive 3k squared plus k minus 2. I encourage you, if you want to pause the video, pause it now and try it on your own. If not, let's do it together because I know these are hard, okay? Drop down that negative. Throw in our parentheses. Again, kids, what's nice, there's only one way to multiply to a 3. It's 3 and 1. So I know we have a 3k and a k. Now, a little trickier here. I need to multiply to a negative. The only way to multiply to a negative, you guys, is a positive and a negative. Again, I don't know where it goes. I'm just going to start there. We'll have to find out and see if we have them in the right spots. But what is nice, you guys, is there's only one way to multiply to 2, and it's a 2 and 1. So if we look here, let's try to be strategic. I only want my numbers to combine to a positive 1k. So would it make sense to put my 2 here? No, it shouldn't, because think, you're going to be taking 3 times that number, and we're going to get a pretty large number when we do that. So we want to probably avoid that. So let's actually put our 2 here. Oops. Let's put our 2 here and our 1 there. So try to be strategic, right? Help yourself out a little bit. And now we check. We're going to get 2k. 3k times -1 is -3k. Add those together and I get -1k. Shoot. We wanted a positive. Easy fix, you guys. You know why? We just switch our symbols. So we're going to have a minus and a plus. So now when we do that, try it out real quick. Just to make sure we're all checking, because that's what's important here. -2 times k is -2k. 3k times 1 is 3k. Combine them. -2k plus 3k is a positive 1k. Hello. We are amazing. Big brains. Yep. Oh, don't forget that negative up front, right? Okay, so you guys, I hate to say it, your summary for this is an educated guess and check. There's no rhyme or reason. You just kind of have to get lucky. And you can't be frustrated. So that's what's nice about using the expo markers on our desk. You can just kind of easily change them out without having to erase a ton. On the back or on your desk or on a scratch sheet of paper, let's do some extra examples together before I set you loose. Here's 3 of them. These are just like the ones in your notes. Pause the video. See if you can come up with them. You guys, I know they're hard. I know this. I know this is a tough lesson. But I want, the only way to get good at this is if you try. So I want you to pause the video and try these examples, and then I'm going to work them out. So I'm trusting that you at least attempted these, you guys, because I'm not going to, I know the answer, so I'm just going to write down the right answers. But I'll tell you why I did what I did. Okay, so on this one, the only way to get to a 3 is a 3 and a 1. I'm multiplying to a negative number, so I know I need a plus and a minus. And now the only way to get to a 5 is a 5 and 1. I'm going to put my 5 with my 3 and my 1 here. And now I'll check them with you guys. Negative 5p, 3p. Combine those for a negative 2p, which is what we wanted. All is great. Okay, another one here, kids. 2n and an n. I'm multiplying to a negative number again, so I know I'm going to have a plus and a minus. So there's two ways to get to 9. I have 1 and 9 and 3 and 3. And like I told you before, I would usually start with the ones that aren't so extreme, like 1 and 9, go for something in the middle. So if I try a 3 and a 3 here, I'm going to get negative 3n, a 6n, combine those for a positive 3n, which is what we wanted, all as well. Now our last one, kids. All right, let's try it out. To get to a 2v, I need a v and a v. To get to a 5, I only have one option, that's 1 and 5. My signs are plus, plus, which is also nice. Now we just have to get lucky. Again, we have to add 2 and 11. So I'm probably going to want to put the 5 over here so I can multiply it by that 2. So now when we check, I get 1v, 10v, 1v plus 10v is 11v. Heyo, we got it. All right, let me know when you're done and I will get you what you need. Thanks for watching, kids.